Founded in 2014, the Extraordinary Achievers' vision is to empower others to be the best version of themselves. The show is hosted by Chief Lady Waynette Peters, a multi-entrepreneur, empowerment speaker, confidence mentor, positive lifestyle coach, humanitarian ambassador, and a TV host. Lady Waynette is a holder of over 35 international awards for her humanitarian, philanthropic, and international empowerment contributions and holds 2 chieftaincy titles. Welcome to the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
Thank you for joining us on the Extraordinary Achievers Show, where we're joined today again by some amazing guests. We thank them for taking time out to join us on the show today. Before we get things started today, we're going to look at a little clip. Let's watch this.
One thing remains prominent in these different times, and that's business startups and business growth. We are joined by coaches to discuss some business tips and techniques. How do we start or grow a business in a pandemic? How can we prepare ourselves for a business change? And how do we manage a diverse business plan?
Today is time to create wealth. It's time to make money. So today we are going to be looking at business and personal growth. Last year, we had Augusta, a business owner. Augusta Elizabeth Koroma is the CEO of SEA Consultancy Limited. And we're going to ask her how she got on in the pandemic with her business. And we're going to watch a little clip from Augusta. We would like to welcome all our guests on the show today and be ready to be amazed, to be wowed, to be empowered, and to be inspired. First of all, we are going to bring Augusta onto our screens. Augusta, welcome onto the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
Good evening, Lady Waynette.
Good evening,
It's
Augusta.
wonderful to be here as always.
Good.
You're looking ever so stunning.
And it's nice. Thank you so much. I thank God for it, right? I always say that God is absolutely amazing, and then Brandy preserves. Augusta,
That's right. That's right.
You have a vast array of products. Could you please share some of your product lines, your 3 top products?
Right. Welcome to the brand AG Mollify Woman, and our products are fragrances, vegan care and hair care body products, and also scented candles. I've got vegan massage oils and many, many more.
Augusta, how has the pandemic changed your business structure?
Wow. It's a lot, really. COVID-19 is a global health crisis, as we all know. And it has had a vast economic and social repercussions in our businesses. And that has changed a lot during the past year. My AG Mollify Woman started as an online business and later got a shop based in Gravesend, Kent. What I have done really, I have acquired more marketing skills than ever before. Digitally should not be seen as acceptable, but rather seen as a solution to change. And corporation as well is having the economy to produce goods with manufacturing companies and all of that. So it has changed in a vast, in a moment, in so many ways for my company, and so are other companies as well.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say are the three main things that you've done that have made you to sustain your business and grow your business? Because I know you've been very active and you've been having new products coming out. It looks like every other day. What have you done?
Wow, yes, I can just like certainly wear my glasses there, as you can see. Yes, I have done so much in terms of the three things that I would say is in resilience, innovative, and dynamic. Resilience to be able to challenge things, innovative skills in order to be creative, and dynamic in order to be acquire and reach out to other manufacturing company. Because what I find that I found out that my own manufacturing company here in the UK have had a lapse of 5 weeks in producing products. And what I decided to do is like I try to be more creative, more innovative in a way. And my recent product is the anti-fog facial shield, which I have in few different colors, which are selling at the moment. So I tend to use design thinking in a way to enhance my business.
Amazing. Well done to you. And thank you for being an inspiration. And we wish you all the best in the future. And we look forward to having you back again on the Extraordinary Achievers Show. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me in the show today, Lady Wynette. It's always a pleasure of being here today. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Anna, and welcome.
Hello, good evening. How are you doing?
Really good, thank you. We thank you for your time and thank you for joining us today. Anna, your first question for you today: what type of a personality is built for being an entrepreneur? What takes it for a person to be an entrepreneur? Is there a particular kind of person that can be an entrepreneur?
It's a very good question. I think many people assume that, you have to be extrovert, you have to have, a lot of confidence, you have to take risks and, love challenges and authority in order to actually be an entrepreneur. Where, in my opinion, I meet a lot of different people and I work with different types of people. So when I usually start working with someone, I profile them and I use DISC personality profiling for that. And I can see from there that there are a lot of different personalities and they all are successful. But if I have to kind of give you an idea of the traits, I think there are four traits that are probably really common to all entrepreneurs I usually meet. First of all, you have to be really curious. Usually these people, who are really successful entrepreneurs, they learn a lot. They they research things. They want to know a lot of things, and they're just willing to listen as well. Another thing is they're usually creative, so they're always looking for new opportunities, new things to do, maybe to do things in a different ways or build something from really nothing. And then the third thing I would say it's probably being responsible. So being responsible for setting up the goals, for your own actions, for actions of your business, and as well as implementing all these ideas what you have. And the last one I would say is probably being decisive, where you really have to decide, here's the plan I'm making, I'm going to commit to it, and you have to just run strategically with this. So I think that's the 4 really main things I would mention.
Thank you. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. We've had an introduction in tonight's show. Our next question is, what would you recommend as the three top successful business tips?
I would say, first of all, you need to know your audience. It doesn't matter what kind of business you have, but you need to know who your clients are, and you need to make sure that you're building strong relationships with them. So it's either online, in person. I know in person it's currently is quite difficult, but there are different options how you can actually build these relationships online with them. Then the second one I would say is take care of the team. Team is really important. Every business is people business. So it's, if you don't have a team, if you're solopreneur, it also means that you need to make sure that you have really good relationship with the contractors, suppliers, or anyone really you're dealing with on a daily basis who are helping you to run that business. And then the last one is, I would say it's communication. You need to make sure that you're communicating well, first of all, with your clients, with your audience, but also with your team, so they know which day they go and what the purpose and what's the actual business vision and mission.
Amazing. Thank you, Anna. And Anna, we'll be back with you in a moment. We just want to read some comments and welcome our audience and our viewers wherever they are.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. We welcome you to the Extraordinary Achievers, and now we are going to read some of the comments that you shared with us. Louisa Artie, good evening, my dear friend, and good evening to you, sweetie pie. And Sophia Lumbre says, good evening to you, sweetheart. Good evening, doll. Vicky Gavi, our very own team administrator, good evening to you too, Vicky. And thank you for joining us. And Bangi, good evening and welcome back onto the Extraordinary Achievers show tonight. And Empress Joanne, good evening to you too. And she says, good evening, everyone. And we have Angela McCullins. Angela says, good evening, everyone, and good evening to you, Angela, sweet pie. Thank you for sharing the program. We appreciate you. Stanley MBA, good evening to you too, Stanley, and welcome back onto the show. Lady Yenny, People and Places, an amazing community leader. Well done to you too, and thank you for your compliment. Thank you, Val Robinson. Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you. And she welcomes you, Coach Anna. She says, Coach Anna, hello. Kelsey, JD, welcome and good evening to you. And she says, excited to get some tips on starting my own business. And we thank you for those comments. Francis Albert, good evening to everyone and good evening to you too. And we welcome you all on the Extraordinary Achievers show, where we have some guests today that are going to give us some techniques and some tips. And we're going to ask you to please share, comment, interact. The coaches, the experts in their fields are here today to give us a wow factor. Before we go on to our next coach, I would like to ask you this question. Have you heard about the new trend, the new buzzing West African restaurant next to New Cross Gate Station, just 1 minute walk away? We have a video coming up. I understand that the food is scrumptious and people are queuing up. I remember seeing on social media when there was the trend for Nigerian food. Well, they are offering you to come and taste their food by buying, of course, but they're offering some amazing cuisines and they're bringing a twist and a new flavor to West African food. So please patronize them, use them. The comments are the food is amazing. And I personally have had food from them, and I can vouch on the taste, the quality, the presentation, the customer service is absolutely amazing. Let's look at a video from them.
It's here! FC African Takeaway, the new West African eatery offering spicy and vibrant food. Their cuisine has much to offer the palates of health-conscious and adventurous gastronomers. Their takeaway doors are now open Mondays to Saturdays, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 265G, New Cross Road, London, SE14 6AR. FC African Takeaway.
Thank you. We welcome you back onto our screens, and we thank you. We had a little temporary hitch over there, and we do apologize for that. We are going to welcome the serial entrepreneur since 1985, Darren, the CEO and founder of Success Solutions Limited, a millionaire at the age of 34 through the concepts of leverage and residual income. Since 2011, he has been mentoring others with the ambition to build their businesses with leverage and residual income. He welcomes us today into his mind, into how he has developed to the man that he is and how he became a millionaire at the age of 34. We would like to welcome you, Darren, on the Extraordinary Achievers Show.
Hi, thank you very much for the welcome and for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We appreciate you. Darren, how did you become a millionaire? What did you do?
Well, I think like so many entrepreneurs who make a big chunk of money, I sold a business. So it was a business that myself and a friend founded. It's like so many success stories, there's an element of luck, being in the right place at the right time. But in order to capitalize on luck, it's the definition that luck is where being preparedness meets opportunity is absolutely correct. So you can't just be in the right place at the right time. You've got to have your eyes open. You've got to be looking for opportunities, and you've got to be prepared to take advantage of them. And just like Anna said, being decisive. So, when you do see an opportunity, and then be decisive and jump into it so that you can take advantage of it. So yeah, the short answer is I built a business and sold it.
And what advice would you give to someone growing a business in this pandemic?
Well, we've seen just how fragile so many industries and types of businesses and jobs that previously people had assumed were relatively safe and had a degree, I suppose, of complacency about. Suddenly, the world was rocked, and we saw that they're not as safe and secure as perhaps we'd have thought, and that they can be devastated by the circumstances that we've seen. And so my advice is to really think about what can go wrong. What are the risk factors? What are the potential risks? Even if they seem like a really, really long shot and there's not really much chance of it happening, how would the business survive if risk factor A or risk factor B were to be realized? And then take actions and take steps to be adaptable, to be able to adapt the business to be survivable, regardless of what unforeseen circumstances can arise. And not all businesses, to be honest, it are possible to adapt. And so that can sometimes be a difficult question to answer when you're evaluating your business and its viability. Is in some cases, genuinely, when you ask those hard questions, your conclusion is this business is potentially non-viable. And regardless of the time and energy and perhaps even money that I've sunk into it so far, I need to find something else.
Thank you for that input, Darren. How can we prepare ourselves for business change, and how do we manage a diverse business plan?
So keeping your eyes open to what's going on in the wider economy, changes, because things are changing constantly. And sometimes if you're like so many solopreneurs, especially, you can be so busy in the day-to-day activities of doing the business that you need to force yourself to find time to step back, have a helicopter view, see what's going on in the bigger picture, the wider economy, making sure that what you're doing, is still viable, is still profitable, because time and the changes that happen all around us can turn something that's a profitable business into a loss-making business. And so, being aware, keeping your eyes, on what is going on, and just sense checking your business at all times against what is going on, and just looking at the new trends, the upcoming trends that are happening, and seeing if there is an advantage that you can just pivot your business perhaps slightly to take advantage of an emerging trend, and to keep it up to date with the times and to take an advantage of what's going on.
Darren, we appreciate you. We are going to come back to you shortly, and we're going to introduce our third guest for this evening. Thank you for that information and that input. We are going to introduce Monty Joseph, the founder and CEO of Square Pumpkin and the marvelous Dandelion Company. Monty is a creative director and entrepreneur. Monty has designed music-based mentoring programs for organizations such as the Prince's Trust, Great Ormond Street Hospital, and many more. We would like to welcome you on the Extraordinary Achievers show today, Monty.
Good evening, Winnet. How are you?
I am so good, my longtime friend, and I've seen you for ages. Thank you for joining us.
That's right. Really, really, really pleasure to be here.
Thank you, and I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Monty, how do we start to grow a business in a pandemic?
Okay, well, I mean, if we sort of think about what pandemic has really meant to us, it's been a situation where we're all in what we can call uncharted territory, a white space, a space that's unpopulated, a blank canvas. So that gives us, in one hand, an opportunity to be able to actually explore in uncharted territories, but then in the other hand, it can give you anxiety, because again, you're like, I don't know who I can reach out to in a space that is a blank canvas, nobody knows it. But what you can do is make sure that as you start to look at your original formula, your original idea that you might have had for building a business, and say, well, actually, me starting in this area, can I sustain it? And what are the attractions in this area? So certainly staying at home, online, so looking at the digital platforms. So for example, I decided to build my company last year. It was centered around being solely online. So saying, well, actually, I'm going to do something where I know that I can function in the digital space without having to worry about whether one place is shut or you can't have access to this area. So I do think that people being very, very mindful of what they are trying to achieve in a white space, and making sure that they take a look at the possibilities of being able to have strategic alliances that are also based online, that have not been as affected, as most of the other companies would be, and then be able to actually build their business with strategic alliances.
Amazing, fantastic. Strategic alliance is what I take away from that. And how do we manage ourselves for success? Because we have to self-manage ourselves to be successful, right? We have to have some discipline within ourselves, and we have to have a drive within ourselves. How do you advise on how we manage ourselves for success?
Well, the thing is, I think that this comes down to idealization now, because before we achieve it, we create the ideal of what success is. Oh, well, when I'm successful, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But actually, in reality, success and, you know, money can be a very challenging thing to actually manage. So I think it's being about being really grounded in what you're doing, and actually understand that you, like I said, you make a formula for sustainability. You know, can I sustain success once I get there? So then that will mean that you would look at you know, how you go into the market, how you increase your income, and again going back to in the new space that we're in, so certainly being able to see if you can sustain it in that space. And once you become very confident with that and become used to whether it's going to be the amount of pressure that you have, because with obligations and all the other things that come with success, that, you know, there comes pressure and stress. So being able to actually manage, you know, pressure against the obligations, to maybe it be staff, or it could be that you decided to take on a building. So being able to actually manage your increase is very, very important in, you know, certainly in these times, and generally anyway. Yeah, so that's, I mean, yeah, that's what I would say, you know, that you'd really want to keep an eye on.
Thank you, and we thank you for that input. We are going to go back to Anna, and we will be back with you, Monty. Thank you for that info. Thank you. Anna, we welcome you back onto our screens. And thank you. How does one establish who their ideal clients are?
Well, usually, you know, our ideal clients is some kind of version of ourselves. It's all really based on, you know, what we went through, our experiences, and, you know, things like this. So I'd say the first thing you need to do is really think about your purpose and what would you like to achieve. You know, what is your why? Why are you going to do what you're going to do, you know, establishing business and what kind of business? So when you figure that out, you should then uncover your expertise. What are you good at? You know, maybe things you love doing, maybe some skills which you're not using, but you used to use before and you were really successful with those. Then the next step is really to, well, I like helping my clients to, you know, with how to actually figure out their client is really look at the people you really adore, like any famous people, or maybe anyone who, you know, your family members or friends who you're really close to. Look at them and find yourself in them, what traits they have, what characteristics they of personality they have, you know, things what they're doing, and see if you relate to any of them. Then the next step I would say is look at your previous experiences and things what you've been through. Maybe, you know, in my case, for example, you know, I've been through a burnout before. So what I teach now as well, when it comes to success coaching, you know, how to actually run your business, but not have a burnout at the end. So yeah, it really comes from your experiences and what you've been through. Then again, you can also think about what makes you different from everyone else. You know, everyone has a story, and I know, you know, obviously I'm a business coach and there are thousands of business coaches there, but we're all different. We might be, you know, coaching on similar things, but our stories are different, and people will resonate specifically to your story rather than with someone else's story. Then when you figure this all out, you should define your target market. It's not really your ideal client yet. It's a more broaden, you know, what the age range of your clients would be, like their demographics, and then, you know, what beliefs they have, what challenges they face. And when you have that, then you narrow it down to your actual, who is your ideal client. And I like giving exercise to my clients where they really going through a lot of different questions and creating the ideal client avatar, and basically giving the name to that person, and you know, every single thing, you know, what they know about them, they write down on the paper, and then you have like a story about that person, and it's really easy then to understand who your client is. But the work is not really finished when you have that in place, because you need to test it with the market. Is it actually, you know, what you think who your ideal client is, or you know, is there any tweaks needs to be done. So the best way to do is just really go and do research. You can do interviews, you can talk to people who are fitting that ideal client avatar what you prepared, and then according to the data what you gathered, then you can adjust your things and then create the actual proper avatar and then move forward with your business with that.
Amazing, fantastic. So preparation is key. Anna, how did you overcome being burnt out?
Sorry, say again. I lost you for a second.
How did you overcome being burnt out? What did you do different? What did you decide to do different? And how are you doing things differently now to avoid another burnout?
Well, it's a very good question. I guess then that happened, I was quite young and I was very, passionate about what I was doing, and had a full-time job, and, I was building my career in hospitality, and I just wanted, to work hard. I was doing long hours, and, I just felt in my head, it was like, you work hard, it doesn't matter how long it's going to take you, but like, you're going to get there. And that's when the burnout happened, with not enough resting time and vacations, you just can't continue. And now what I realized, it's not really about, working hard and like doing everything. It's really about prioritizing, putting plans in place and strategies, and actually looking at, what is important now rather than, I need to do everything. And I see it a lot of entrepreneurs actually when they start their business and they come to me and they say, I need to do this, I need to do that. And there's like a massive to-do list. And then like, okay, hold on. We need to really sit down and see, okay, what do you need to do first? What's more important? And obviously for every business, the important thing is to get clients, so I don't think you need to, start creating like an, incredible website, for example. You can have something basic at the beginning, but then when you start getting clients, you get money into your business, then you can obviously upgrade that. So, and again, like, you don't want to waste all that energy. You need to just see where you put more energy and less energy, in which exercises or tasks. And then again, like, some things you might be not really good at, and that takes you more time and more energy. These things you should be outsourcing, hiring a PA or VA, or, outsourcing maybe someone who would do marketing for you or things like this. So like, then you're actually doing things what you like, what you are good at, and, what you're interested in, and everything else is basically outsourced. So yeah, I think that's really it.
Thank you. So creating a structure and creating a workflow chat in terms of what can you do first and what can you do next, and having a working plan. Thank you for that, Anna. And Anna, we'll be back. We're going to do the musical place again. We'll be back. We're going to go over now to Darren, and Darren, we welcome you back onto our screens.
Thank you.
Darren, in business, what are the key fundamental skills that you have to learn for business survival?
So believing in yourself for a start, because nobody's going to start a business unless they actually do believe in themselves and in their idea. Certainly, I would agree with Monty, is you've got to ensure that the business that you're starting is sustainable for the long term. Otherwise, it's just going to be a short-term venture, and you're going to be back to square one looking for something else to do instead. So you definitely need mindfulness of that and that trait. What else do you need? I suppose you need to have the. We heard from Anna earlier about decisive, and you don't have to be perfect. So there's a phrase called analysis paralysis, and a lot of people feel, I've just got to tweak this, I've got to change that, I've got to, I'll be ready to launch my business once this is ready, etc., etc. And I would say, don't do that. Just go with what you have, even if it's, even if you feel it's amateurish, or you even feel ashamed by that. At least you're taking some action, and once you've got started, you can fine tune things and improve things along the way, but at least you've started. So one of my favorite sayings is that you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to become great.
Thank you, Darren. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to start to be great. Thank you. And what success solutions would you give to a small business in 2021?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
What success solutions would you advise and give to a small business in 2021?
Well, I would certainly say learn from the lessons that so many businesses and so many individuals have suffered from over the last 12 years. Maybe, directly, some of you here have suffered from the pandemic financially. But even if you haven't, look at what others have suffered. And we live in times of online business. This meeting that we're doing right now, a year or two ago, we would have been in a hotel conference room somewhere in central London and been doing it face to face. But we kind of been forced to take advantage of the technology that has been here for a few years. And so just, build a business that leverages the technology and any other emerging trends that are happening around, rather than trying to struggle on in the face of changes that are making older business principles and practices more and more obsolete all the time, and putting them more and more at risk of the failures and disasters that we've already seen a number of businesses over the last year disappear. And there will be even more, because there are what we call zombie businesses that should have died already, but they are being kept alive artificially from government stimulus programs, where more and more money is being printed and directed to help businesses to stay alive and help them to continue having employees, but that is not sustainable in the long term. And if those business models are just fundamentally broken, then those zombie businesses that are still stumbling along, as soon as that financial rug is pulled, they will fall, as well as the ones we've already seen fall. So be mindful to be aware of the changes that are happening in technology and other trends, and pivot whatever you're doing that doesn't align with that in some way so that it does.
Thank you, Darren. Darren, we will be back. Thank you. We are going to read some comments now, and we are going to see what our audience and our viewers have been saying. In the meantime, we're going to urge you at home to please share this show, like, comment, ask the coaches any question that you'd like to ask them. There are experts at your fingertips. Kelsey says, wise words, and thank you for that input, Kelsey. Val Robinson says, very interesting, Coach Monty, having a formula for sustainability. Thank you, Val. Francis Alves says, great advice from all the speakers, and we thank you for your input. Vicky Garvey says, go with the flow and take the action. Rosalind Williams, Pastor Rosalind says, you don't have to be great to get started. That's right, Pastor, you don't have to, but you have to start. Vangi says, interesting and very good advice. And we thank you for your comment. We thank you for watching the Extraordinary Achievers show. And now we are going to move on to Monty Joseph. Monty, you've been in business for over 35 years. And we would like you to share with our audience. Thank you. We would like you to share with our audience, what is your motto in life?
Well, I've got a saying that I use, and when I say it, people sometimes laugh, but then when they start to bring it into their imagination, I think it really does sort of set the idea. And I say, you have to pull hard if you want to see elephants in heaven. And what I mean by that is, in business, I started my business when I was 16 years old, and I'd be lying if I was to say that it's been, all green lights. No, I've stumbled, I've fallen, I've got up and I've learned. I've completed the Million No questionnaire. Every time I got it wrong, I was like, I've learned something from that, and then I'll try to get it right. So I think that over the years and going into business, I started, like I said, when I was a teenager with Pastor Audie Cummings, who you would know. We were very young. We started our first business together, and we stayed very close ever since we were teenagers, and watched each other grow and encouraged each other on how we can actually push ourselves into a direction, but also as well really think about, you know, the uniqueness of what our offerings may be and how we can actually replicate it in other areas. If you're an entrepreneur, that's what you would always be thinking about, things like that, which I've always done. So I think that now at my ripe old age, I do think that, yes, I've had a lot of information and being able to sort of like pass it down, which is why I've done courses for like the Prince's Trust and other different organizations, which has been centered around actually being able to increase each person's capacity for being able to find success.
Thank you, Monty. And yes, Audie Cummings, Pastor Audie Cummings, an amazing man that you just mentioned there. Truly amazing he is. Monty, what business strategies do we need in place to sustain a functional and financial growing business?
Yeah, well, I think first of all, we've got to ask ourselves some salient questions, yeah? And, you know, it's like, well, if I want to succeed, yeah, how much money do I want to be able to make? So you've got to look at the possible profitability of the entity that you are pursuing. And so after you start looking at that, you might actually then ask yourself, well, you know, how big do you think this business can become? You know, now that we're living in an age where we're in automated services, for example, we see we can go to do our weekly shopping, and we're using self-checkouts. People are shopping online or what have you. So being able to actually assess the environment that we're living in and see, well, actually, am I doing something that is traditional, as in the old way, or is it tradigital, going part of each way, or is it digital in the new space? And so thinking about your business and whether or not you can exist in the new space, yeah, and know to yourself, well, actually, I can make this real in the new space, yeah. And then assessing, well, what would the earnings be and how fast can I grow in that new space? All of those elements. I mean, and it's multi-layered, because, you know, we could only sort of literally hit the tip of the iceberg with this conversation this evening that we're having, which is a very fruitful one, of course, but we are left with seeds, you know, seeds that we can plant, and from that believe in watering that earth, that soil, that one day, you know, the plant will grow and you have a beautiful flower or what have you. So it's about actually knowing to yourself, well, I will plant the seed and I'll be diligent in watering that earth, because I can't see the seed until it actually then starts to sort of bring its head from out of the earth.
Thank you, Monty. Monty, we'll be back to ask you your closing question this evening, but we're going to go all the way back now to Anna. Anna, we welcome you back onto our screens. And Anna, what advice would you give someone starting a new business now?
So I think focus on your you know, big vision and, you know, why you're doing this. This is the important thing. You know, at the end of the day, you building your business for yourself, and you know, or you know, some people obviously have families involved, so for the families and, you know, for the life you actually want to have in the future. So I think it's really important to have this big vision in mind. Then you need to definitely research the market, see is there's a gap, you know, what kind of business you're trying to build or start. You know, there's obviously with pandemic, even though, you know, it's quite bad situation for many businesses, but there were also many gaps when pandemic happened. So many entrepreneurs saw those gaps and they decided, you know, to open businesses and start new businesses. So definitely research the market, see where the gaps are, and then get to know your customers, you know, do proper research, understand what pain points are, what their struggles are, you know, so you actually can fill these gaps with the things that people need and want, rather than, you know, something what you think they might want or might need. Then set priorities, see what's important. So don't just run and do everything. And also don't sit and wait. As Darren said, you don't have to start a business or, grow a business, with everything in place. You just need to start. That's the hardest thing, really. When you start, you're just going to learn as you go, and then things going to just fall into places as they are. But again, as I just mentioned, you should set priorities. Like, what's the most important thing to do now? What's going to get me closer to where I would like to be, rather than just running, around and doing everything, and then again, being overwhelmed or feeling stuck, or getting burnout. And I think another important thing is definitely, get support, get help, obviously hire a coach if you can, or get a mentor. There are a lot of like marketing people who can help you, business consultants. And the last thing I'd say, just keep going. There are going to be days when you will wake up and be like, why am I doing this? I'm totally overwhelmed. I feel stuck. I don't know what to do next. You will have those days. All you need to do is just get up and get going. It will get better.
It always gets better. And I agree with you. You need a mentor and you need a coach. Even a coach needs a coach and a mentor needs a mentor. We all need someone to mentor us and to coach us. And that's the only way we can grow, because none of us know everything. And sometimes when we're too close to something, we miss it anyway. We have a question from one of our viewers, and we're going to pose this question to you. And the question reads, what are the examples of types of stability in business does one require to have?
Well, stability is definitely, one stable thing for the business is, clients. If you have clients always coming to the door, your business is going to be really stable. And, but again, as I mentioned earlier, it is about building relationships, and it is about, providing that value to your customers. And I know in the current situation with, pandemic, many businesses, they had to pivot, they had to go online, and they had to figure out how to get those clients again back into the doors. But, you can always offer some incentives. The main thing here is to actually have these clients there and nurture them, and making sure that you're still providing value, that when things get better, they're going to be there. They need to understand why are things happening, what you're doing now, why you're doing that. And, that will have, stable market for you. Maybe it might not work at this stage, because obviously, pandemic is quite tricky, but it's definitely going to help you in the future. Where things open up, and it just really depends on your business. But I think the main thing, definitely it is, you have to have clients to have a stable business, because everything really falls from there.
Amazing. And thank you for that response. We have another question for you. Maggie says, to what do you attribute your success?
Very good question. Again, success is obviously different to everyone. For me, success means, I always want to have my business, and I wish I started earlier. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but, I'm happy I did it now. And it is what it's going to provide me. It's the flexibility, it's the freedom of my time, it's doing things what I love. I totally love, personal development. I totally love coaching, and, combining these things in the business and success coaching is just perfect. And, seeing people succeed just, gives me butterflies. It's just amazing. So for me, even though maybe I haven't earned my million yet as Darren did, but at the end of the day, I feel quite successful already with everything what I've built by myself.
Thank you, Anna. And Anna, could you please tell our viewers about your coaching and mentoring services? You're a success coach, you're a business coach. Could you please tell our viewers what you have to offer them?
Yeah, sure. So I work with entrepreneurs and business owners, and also their teams, like small businesses teams. What I offer entrepreneurs is usually one-on-one coaching, those who want to start their business, and they either don't know how to do it, or they feel stuck when they already started. I also work with business owners, primarily also one-on-one, if it's just business owners or CEOs. Usually it's all about growing the business, but there's so much more behind just getting those financial statements and revenues up. There are a lot of things behind that. So that's what we usually work on in order to be actually successful in business. And at the same time in personal life. And I also do help small business owners and their teams in order to make sure that the teamwork is great there, that people are motivated, that they do understand what the company's vision is, and they're all going towards that vision. So in general, I work, as I said, one-on-one. With teams, it's a little bit different, especially now in pandemic. But yeah, if obviously anyone is interested, feel free to get in touch with me.
Exactly. And thank you so much. It's been amazing having you on the show. We are going to leave you for a moment, and we are going to go all the way back to Darren. Darren, welcome back onto our screens, and we have a question for you.
Okay.
We have a question, Rosalind Williams, and she says, can you give us some examples of business ideas that one can get into with a little capital? What can she do with a little money box?
Sure. There's a range of different things, but it really depends on what it is that you want to get out of your business. And it can range from somebody who just wants to make, 1,000 or 2 per month, or somebody might want to make over 100,000 a year, or even $1 million a year. And depending on what it is that's important to you, it's going to dictate which direction you want to go in. What so many solopreneurs do is they take existing skills that they've built up through their employment and go it alone to provide that service to the open market and gain clients and customers. And that can certainly tick the boxes in the lower end of the income spectrum, but the limitations there are that you need to be there providing the service, and if you're not providing services, you're not earning money. And the other limitation is, we heard again from Anna on the burnout questions, is that so many people fall into the trap when they need to up the level of income that they're getting from providing services. The only direction they've really got to go is to work harder and to work longer hours. And the question is, how many hours literally can you work? And by pushing that envelope, it only leads to one thing, which is that burnout. So for me, that's why leverage is so important. And building networks really are the path to wealth. Facebook is a network of consumers and advertisers being linked together. The same with YouTube. It's consumers and content creators and advertisers being linked together. And all of these aspects are being leveraged by those who own these networks. And everything is networks these days. And so that's what I would suggest. And that's exactly what we teach. So we have a business model where people can get started without investing their capital, but committing to investing their time and start building a network, connecting consumers with products, and growing and building it, and allowing the leverage to do the hard work rather than themselves providing a service over and over and over.
Amazing. Can you tell us some of the other opportunities that you might have or you can offer to our audience and our viewers out there?
Yes, so it's exactly what I've described there. Is what we do is we help people to get started in building a network, connecting with manufacturers of products and connecting those products to consumers, and earning a percentage of what people are spending. And obviously it works best with consumable products, and those products have to be good and high quality for customers to love them. And once you've got all those correct things in place, then it kind of takes care of itself. And it's like you do some work one time, which is, for example, promoting something and connecting consumers to product providers. And once that relationship has been created, provided, like I say, the products are high quality, the customers love them, and they're consumable, those customers, when they run out of whatever that product is, will keep coming back to that company for more. and that company will keep sending you your share of the revenue. And that's what we teach. And, I learned the power of both residual, but what's even more important to me is the leverage. In that very business that I became a millionaire when I sold, that was actually in life insurance. It was a network. Over a period of time, we recruited about 1,000 mortgage brokers to sell life insurance policies to their customers, and we made a margin on every one. We actually had about £1 million a month of commissions coming in from those sales, and working on a 15% margin. Myself and my two business partners were enjoying that 150,000 a month of profit. And there's no way that any of the three of us, or the three of us collectively, could ever have made that kind of money by ourselves being the salespeople selling life insurance. But the leverage of taking a small percentage of the productivity of that 1,000 mortgage brokers that we had was what allowed us to make so much money, but then also to be attractive to larger companies who wanted that action and actually bought the whole thing from us. Now, the other thing is that residual comes from those consumable products. And again, a product like life insurance taught me that all the work goes in at the beginning to sell a policy to a client. And when that's done, and you walk away and you're not really seeing that client again, but the premiums get paid every single month for the next 10, 20, 30 years. So if you can find a product that's either consumable that customers love and keep coming back to buy more of, or something that's a subscription of that nature where they're paying for it every month, even though you're not having to be there to deliver the service every month, then that's the magic of the residual. And when you combine the two things together, leveraging and having residual, that's where the magic happens. And for those who do aspire to a 6 or 7 figure income, it's really, in my view, the only thing that I've found over the last 35 years that can truly deliver that to those who are prepared to put in the work.
Thank you, Darren. I had the bells ringing about transferable skills and that no one man is an island. You can succeed, and times you need others to succeed in that way. We thank you so much, Darren. We are going to read some comments. We have a comment coming up on our screens, and our first comment is from TJ, and he says, not everybody is cut out to go into business. Before researching the market, I think the most important thing is to research yourself and find out if you're cut out for business. If you are, you can do anything. If you're not, stay away and stay in employment. I do agree with you to a certain extent, which is that you really have to find it in yourself that you can work hard. Being self-employed and being in business means that you have very little sleep time. You need determination. You need consistency. You need the staying power. Most importantly, I would say you need coaches, you need mentors, you need individuals like we have in Anna. You need an individual that's already established like Darren, that can show you the ropes and that's already done it all. He's done it all and he knows the way. You need someone like Monty, who's been in business for over 35 years. He's had it, he's lost it, he's got it, and he's on his way out. You need individuals like that. Let's have a look at our next comment, which is from Vicky. She says, be creative and explore different avenues when it comes to success. And that is another thing. There's never anything too small to explore. Explore, explore, explore. Meet at home. Do anything, explore, and finally see what it is that your heart truly desires. That one thing that keeps you up at night. There could be something in there. Coach Norma Ellis says, it's important that we have business. You do have it to be something that you have a gift for and doing what you have a passion for. Absolutely, 100% agree. It has to be something that you love doing. After all, you're not employed by someone else, you're self-employed, so it has to be something that you love to do. We have a next comment coming up on our screens, and it's from Pastor Rosalind, and she says, thank you, Darren, for that input and that comment. And you saw his email address. So Pastor Rosalind, please get in touch with him. T. Alabi says, thank you, really insightful, and thank you for joining the show. And Bangi says, great speakers, thank you for offering and sharing your valuable advice. And we thank you for that comment. Coach Val Robinson says, great advice, and thank you, Coach Val. And we would like to thank you for watching, and we'd like to thank you for listening to our guest. And we're going to go over to Monty. Monty, back onto our screens, and so that we can ask Monty. Monty, what advice do you have to give to our audience and our viewers at home today? And part two of your question is, what can we get involved in what you're doing, or what can we buy from you? What do you have for us?
Okay, I mean, I think sort of like if we carry on with the theme, certainly from what Anna and Darren have spoken about this evening, ultimately we've got to ask ourselves salient questions. And those questions may start with, how fast can you grow your business? So is it something that's going to take a lot of human resource, money resource, time resource? And would it be something that doesn't actually guarantee a return? That's an example that I actually decided to get involved in something which was known in the industry. They call it a problem child, which means that you put a lot of time, effort and money into it, but the yield is very big. And in that way, you might want to start to look at, okay, you need to at some point know that you're going to bring in investors, because you'll be thinking about, well, how much money are you going to invest, how much you need to put inside of it, and what your milestones might be in order to achieve the things that you want to achieve. So I think that asking yourself some of these questions, and what, okay, then as I scale this business up, where do I see it in 5 years' time? Yeah. So being able to actually really look at the potential timeline of the business that you're looking to grow is really very, very important. And as I said earlier, depending on the type of business model that you're setting out to achieve, you might want to know that, well, actually it's going to be a solo mission, or it's going to be strategic alliances. If you don't have money, then it's going to be much more about, well, actually, do you have access to human resource, people that can believe in your dream and actually become a part of that dream? And if they become a part of that dream, what is it that you can offer them? Because ultimately, you know, there are people out there that will want to get involved in certain ventures, but they've got to feel that you know, the reason why they're going to get involved is going to be strong. Sort of like touching on one of the questions that you had, if you've got someone that feels that, okay, then being a business owner or an entrepreneur isn't for them, however, being a facilitator is, then that might be someone that'd be really great to come on board with an entrepreneur and make an integral part of a growing team. So there's all of those areas that you know, that need to be considered. So moving on to what I do, so I've got the two companies, and my company that I concentrate on at the moment, in terms of throughout this this last year with the lockdown, has been my company Square Pumpkin, which has been growing it's an urban clothing label, and we do a model what's called drop shipping. So drop shipping means that you make all of your garments, your designs, all that sort of side is done by a manufacturer, and they do the shipping for you. So on the other end, you've got the consumer that orders, and the manufacturer, they fulfill all of the actual processing and shipping of the garment to the client. So all we effectively do is come up with the designs, the business strategy, how to grow it, how to do the marketing, and then so we essentially, once we've put our offerings up onto the website, then you're handing the rest over to your manufacturer to do the fulfillment. So that's one. And then the other, Marvelous Dandelion Company, I'm a concept creator and creative director and founder of the company, and that is children's animation, which again, when I spoke about the problem child model, which is the tough model, what I did, I went into getting investment. So that was someone who was going to invest in my mind and say, well, actually, we like what you're doing, what you're thinking, and we're going to put the money in. So you're looking at high net worthers that, you know, don't mind parting with large amounts of money in order to develop children's animation. Because in that arena, you've got what we call primary rights, which is the actual product itself, which we're going to get syndicated on TV. And then you've got the secondary rights, which is all the merchandising. So it's two sort of like, it's all centered around creativity, but it's very much two separate entities, but both working in the digital space.
Amazing. You always amaze me every time I catch up with you. You're always up to something super amazing, and thank you for being an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
no,
Darren. Thank you. And thank you for all your comments to all our viewers. Thank you to our Facebook viewers. Thank you to our YouTube viewers. Thank you to our LinkedIn viewers. Thank you to our Twitter viewers. And wherever you're watching us from, we like to say thank you. Darren, we have a question for you from TJ. TJ has a question that he would like answered, and it's coming up onto our screens. And the question is, question for you, Darren. Having said and showed us what makes a good investment, and I totally get what you're saying. So giving your knowledge and wisdom in business, as Wynette asked, I'm asking, what is the business you would like, advice you'd like us to go into today? Based on the modeling of team spirit, like the life insurance. What's the business of today? Put a name to it for us. Is it insurance? Is it security? Give us one industry, please. It's a challenge. One industry wants. TJ just wants you to tell him one industry.
Sure. Well, I'm involved, and I help others to get involved in a number of different industries. But to give just one that's exploding, in recent years, is really health and wellness. People are much more aware today than they've been at any time that I've seen about taking care of their health, and really understanding that we are going to be in these bodies on this journey we call life for many more years than our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. And so it is more vital than ever that we take good care of this vehicle that we travel our life through within. And so that people are looking for solutions to stay healthy, and companies that provide products that really help in that area are thriving like crazy these days. So that's one example. It's not the only one. We actually do a live Zoom every night at 8 p.m., 7 days a week, for just 20 minutes, where we go into a little bit more detail into the industries that we're involved with, and how anybody who wants to get started in something new can actually do so. So just my email has popped up on the screen a few times, and there it is again. So if you want to join us for 20 minutes one evening, then drop me an email and I'll send you the Zoom link, and be good to see you there.
Thank you, Darren. And there you have it, TJ. You've got your answer, and you have Darren's email address, and that will also be posted in the comments boxes below, and you'll be able to get in touch with Darren. So Darren is there to serve you in your areas of what can I do next? You've tried it, you've tested it. Now here's my money, make me rich, right, Darren?
Well, yeah, but we don't ask for money.
Okay, but Darren, thank you very much, and we look forward to some of our audience and our guests joining you on that Zoom at 8 p.m. every week. And we would like to read some more comments, and going to have some comments come up on our screens. And we have Accelerator says, question for Monty. You mentioned finding investors who believed in your concept and finding high net worth individuals to invest. How do you begin this process?
Well, the thing is first of all, what I did, and like I said earlier in the evening, I mentioned about the Million No questionnaire. So it started with going in to places with very little experience as a young man and being told no, being laughed out of banks when trying to get loans because I'm talking to them about investing in my mind. And it's like, well, what's so special about your mind? So you've got to obviously decide what is the DNA of your offering. What is it that you're going to do? So in terms of net worthers and what have you, as I really started to develop my authenticity, the authority in the area that I was speaking about, slowly you start to find that your concepts and whatever it is that you're developing have all of the boxes ticked. So what I know about investors, and whether it's venture capitalists or hedge funds or any of that stuff, is that they want to invest. You just got to give them a reason not to. And those reasons ultimately is that you don't do your homework. You don't get it right. There is a vast amount of money out there, especially in the world of children's animation. You know, we're talking about a multi-billion pound industry. So people are used to sitting down and talking about figures like 10 million for, you know, 16 or 13 or 2 lots of 20-minute episodes or whatever it is. They're used to big amounts of money. So when someone is interested and they tell their agent, we want to actually invest in intellectual property, which is my area, then they're looking and you're looking. It's just about how do you get to the person. And this is why I spoke about strategic alliances. If you're out there and you're filling your black book with key people, eventually you will actually meet someone that knows someone. And if we were to use the 6 degrees of separation model, then you're only literally 1 or 2 or maybe at most 3 degrees away from someone that would like to invest. But you've got to actually make sure that you get the actual your business model, and that means the financials as well as the vision. You've got to get those two things married together. Most of the times people have got the creative nous and, oh, well, I've got all these other ideas and it's brilliant, this and brilliant. Well, actually the money people are not really interested in the idea really. They're interested in the actual financial models. Can it work? And if it can't work, then it's a no. And, you know, we sit down and we watch Dragon's Den. My girlfriend is the personal assistant for Levi Roots, who has reggae sauce. And so, you know, I'm very much au fait with how, you know, he built his business. He went into Dragon's Den, he got funding, and still now with Peter Jones, he's built a very, very successful business. And so sort of me having my own business and doing what I've done and having had, you know, quite a bit of investment from investors, and also as well looking at a model of Levi Roots and his reggae sauce, you can get to see that actually you can get access to investment, but you've got to, like I said, make it right because they want to invest. You just got no reason not to.
Thank you, Monty. And we hope that answered your question. And thank you for that very, very, very good question. Thank you, Monty. We are going to now look at some comments from our viewers and our audience. Let's see what people have to say. Melissa says, amazing coaches tonight with very valuable advice. Thank you for your comment, Melissa. Vicky says, thank you, Darren and Anna and Monty, for all the great coaches that have been here today. Thank you. Thank you, Vicky. And Keith Baxter says, yip, 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 love, 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 clap, clap, clap. And Coach Val says, fantastic show hosted by my most beautiful sister and friend, and I love you. I'm so proud and happy to be here receiving such valuable business advice. Thanks to all the coaches this evening. It's been very informative and inspirational, and we love you, Val. Accelerator says, thank you for the advice. Heather HSM says, great show, very valuable content from the guest speakers. And Heather, we thank you for your input. We would like to say thank you for all your comments. Thank you for your gratitude to our coaches, and thank you for sharing. And TJ also says, thank you, Darren, for your response to his question. We acknowledge all your comments that you have shared on the show today. We acknowledge all the shares that you have shared today, and we thank you so much. We had a guest at the beginning of the show, Augusta. She joined us to show us how her business had been growing in time. Every time I see this woman, every week she has a new product or she's improving on a product that she has. So Augusta, we would like to welcome our screens to share with us just one last word. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for being an inspiration. Okay, I think we have not got Augusta again back on our screens. She was freezing earlier and we thought we might have her back, but we do have a video and we will play her video at the end of the show. We would like to say thank you so very much to our coaches as we bring them back onto the screens, and we bring back Anna as we say thank you, Darren, thank you, and we'd like to say thank you to Monica. Thank you so very much for joining us today. Thank you for all your valuable input, techniques, advice, wisdom, empowerment. We thank you so much for taking time out today. We will be posting your contact details onto our social media platforms, and we do hope that our audience and viewers do patronize your services as much as they can. Thank you for being an inspiration.
Thank you for having us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We would like to say thank you to our background and backstage team. We'd like to say thank you to King Darren from We Fix It Media. We'd like to say thank you to Prince, also our background coordinator that we have on the show. And we would like to say a thank you to all of you watching at home. I have a quotation that I would like to end today's show with, and a quotation by Dwayne Johnson. And it says, success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Consistent hard work leads to success. Greatness will come. There's another quotation by Tom Hopkins that says, I am not judged by the number of times I fail, but by the number of times I succeed. And the number of times I succeed is in direct proportion to the number of times I fail and keep trying. Napoleon Hill said, victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting. Victory is always possible for the person who refuses to stop fighting. So keep fighting, keep on getting there, and one day you will make it there too. We would like to thank Melissa. We would like to thank Heather for all the administration that they do in the background. We'd like to thank Princess K for her support to the show. We would like to thank Vicky Gavi, our show promoter, and we would like to thank Amarum, Anthony Everest for all your support. We would like to play this video if you haven't heard about the trend, the West African and Nigerian food that's in South London. Please take a look at this. It's a new trend. It's a new buzz, and it's next to New Crossgate Station, a minute away walk from there. And the video is
It's here! FC African Takeaway, the new West African eatery offering spicy and vibrant food. Their cuisine has much to offer the palates of health-conscious and adventurous gastronomers. Their takeaway doors are now open Mondays to Saturdays, 12 p.m. to 11 p.m. at 265G, New Cross Road, London, SE14 6AR. FC African Takeaway.
Thank you for watching. You can now follow us on Facebook and subscribe our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.